All right, welcome back to another edition of Cardinal Craze. I'm your host, John. Today on the show, we got Mike Jackson Jr. out of Miami, Florida. Mike, how you doing?
Great.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Now, Mike, how are you doing with COVID so far? Are you staying safe, staying 6 feet apart from everybody?
Yes.
All right. Well, how's your night going so far?
Great. It's going great.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. All right. So today on the show, we're going to be talking about your recruitment. We're also going to be talking about your relationship with Coach Brewer and Coach Stingley, the wide receiver coach and assistant coach out of Louisville. And we're going to be running down your recruitment and kind of talking about a little bit where you stand, but we're also going to be learning a little bit about you today. All right. So let's get started. So how has COVID affected your recruiting so far? And have you done any virtual tours yet?
I had done a virtual tour with West Virginia.
Okay. Now, you haven't done any virtual tours yet with Louisville yet, right?
No, not yet.
All right. Well, no worries. I'm sure that is, I'm sure they're going to get you on a virtual tour soon. All right. So how has COVID affected the way you train or work out? And have you been training with anyone in particular?
No, I just be training at school.
Okay. You just train at school. Now, outside of the wide receiver position, what other positions do you play?
Special teams, kick return and punt return.
Kick return and punt return. All right. Well, that's pretty awesome. Now, who would you say your game is modeled after the most?
Tutu Atwell.
Really? Your game is actually modeled after the South Florida famous Tutu Atwell. Well, that's really amazing. All right. So how long have you been watching Tutu play, and were you familiar with him before you got the Louisville offer?
When he was at Miami Northwestern.
Oh, wow. Okay. So all the way back in high school. Now, so do you attend the same high school as him?
No, I go to Miami Palmetto.
Oh, okay. I see now. But you were already familiar with him. Did you used to watch him when? So you used to watch him when he was actually at. You said Miami Central, right?
No, Miami Northwestern.
Northwestern. I'm sorry. So did you used to go and watch his games?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Now, being from Miami, how did it feel to get the offer from Coach Brewer and the Scott Satterfield staff?
It felt great when he called me and when he FaceTimed me and told me.
Wow, that's really amazing. Did Coach Brewer bring in Tutu or, kind of do like a virtual kind of conference with him?
Not yet.
No, not yet. I'm sure that'll happen. So, is there anyone currently on the roster at Louisville that you are familiar with outside of Tutu?
Derek Edwards.
Derek Edwards. All right. He's a good player. All right. So, are you planning or wanting to take any visits when it becomes possible? And where would you like to take them?
I like to take the visits in May.
Okay. All right. So you want to take your visits in May. What
Yes.
are a couple of schools you would like to go visit first?
Louisville, West Virginia, and Florida.
In Florida. Okay. All right. All great schools. All right. Now, do you have any schools in particular that have solidified a leader spot or any colleges that are sticking out so far in your recruitment?
But right now is Louisville and West Virginia.
Louisville and West Virginia are the ones sticking out. All right. So let me ask you, who's your biggest supporter and motivator of your game? Is it someone in your family? Is it your coach? Is it one of your friends?
Like my coach and my mom.
Your coach and your mom. All right. So who's helping you with your decision currently, eventually when you do make a commitment?
My mom and my coach.
All right. Well, that's great to hear. All right. So we're going to kind of break down your recruitment process. We're going to kind of look at everything so far. We're going to talk about what schools have offered you. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a 1 through 10. Now, that 1 through 10 currently reflects how you feel in your recruitment process with them. And it's all possible. It could change essentially. So nothing is, set in stone. All right. Are you ready for that?
Yes.
Okay. So we got Buffalo. How are you feeling towards them?
Not too sure.
Not too sure? Okay, no worries. We can move on to Coastal Carolina. How about them?
Pretty good school.
Pretty good school. What would you rate it 1 through 10?
Like a 9.
A 9. Okay, well, that's really good. Okay, let's move on to Florida International.
Nah, not really.
Not really. Okay, no worries about that. How about Kent State?
I rate them as a 7.
A 7, okay. All right, we move on to Miami. How do you feel about them?
Like a 6.
A 6, okay. Now, West Virginia, how are you feeling about them?
Like a 9.
A 9, okay. UAB,
5.
a 5, okay. And last but least, I believe on this offer sheet is Louisville.
10.
A 10. All
Yeah.
right. That's wow. That's really awesome to hear. Now, do you have any schools currently that are talking to you that have not offered yet so far?
Yes, like I think West Kentucky and Florida.
All right. So, in Florida State as well. So you got you got FSU, you got Florida, and then you got WKU giving you interest, but haven't officially given you an offer yet. Well, that's understandable, and I'm sure they will in time. So let me ask you, what are some of your strengths as both an athlete as a person?
Lifting.
Lifting. Okay, so you lift weights and you're pretty good at working out, essentially.
Yes.
All right. So let me ask you, what are some challenges you had to overcome, or any challenges you had to overcome in your football career or in your life while growing up in Miami?
I really don't know.
Oh, well, that's okay. No worries about it. All right. So what are your goals for this year?
To
That
have,
can be
like,
football. Oh,
to have,
sorry.
like, pounds and like to keep my quarterback in the game.
All right. That's good to hear. Now, what do you like to do in your off time outside of football, outside of school? Do you like to play video games? Are you big into hiking, or are you just really big into knitting? Possibly, I'm not sure. What would you say you are into?
To go help little kids how to play football.
Okay, so you like doing kind of an after-school program for younger kids to help them play football in a sense, or even just helping out some of the kids in your neighborhood and help them play football, essentially?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's great to hear. Now, we're going to talk about your relationship with Coach Brewer and Coach Stingley. Coach Brewer is the wide receiver coach at Louisville, and Coach Stingley is the assistant wide receiver coach. Now, what is your relationship like with Coach Brewer when you talk to him? And I believe you told me you talk to him and Coach Stingley on a daily. Now, what are your conversations usually like?
Like, conversation is start off funny, then he'll be like, they want me to come visit. Ring game.
All right. Well, that's great to hear. Now, what would you say overall? Would you say that Coach Brewer is a funny person, just
Yes.
in general? Okay. Well, that's great to hear. Now, looking at coming to Louisville, you modeled your game after Tutu. You have as you put it, a solid 10 when it comes to Louisville. What would you say would push, essentially, what would push you into committing to a university? Would it just be being able to get up there and see the campus? Would it be just giving it a little bit more time to see what else happens in your recruitment?
Just giving more time to see what happens in my recruitment.
All right. Well, that's understandable and good to hear. Now, have you actually been to Louisville yet on a visit, or is that on the back burner?
That's like on the back burner. Not yet.
Okay. No worries. All right. So let's see. So we talked a little bit about your essentially what you like to do outside of football. And I wanted to ask, do you have any hidden talents?
Zero.
Do what
Like
now?
0. I have like 0.
Oh, you have 0 hidden talents?
Yes.
Oh, well, babe, that's okay. Now, who's your favorite NFL team so far?
The Falcons.
The Falcons. Okay, who's your favorite player on there?
Julio Jones.
Julio Jones. All right. All right. So for the most part, let me ask you, essentially, when you do get to Louisville, has Coach Brewer talked to you about going to any specific restaurants maybe, or in the sense, has he suggested anything to you about when you first come up? Is there any place he's kind of pointed out as this is a place you need to go eat to get some good grub, or you really need to see this attraction, in downtown? Has he give you any type of anything like that?
Not yet.
Not yet? All right. Well, for the most part, do you have any questions for me or the Louisville fans?
No, not thank you.
No? All right. Well, for the most part, Mike, I really appreciate you coming out, telling me about your recruitment so far, giving us a little insight into what's going on. And we'll definitely be back at a later time to possibly talk about where you stand and maybe open up a little bit more about your recruitment once it develops more. All right. Well, for the most part, we'll talk right after this, and I'll do the ending, ending closings, I guess. All right. Well, for the most part, Card Nation, this has been John with Cardinal Craze and Mike Jackson Jr. out of Miami. All right. Well, everyone have a safe night and go Cards.
Thank you.